Hey guys, Bobby here. Can we have a real conversation? Why are so many of us still using soap for our contact wash like it's 1995? Let's break this down. The traditional wash method has what, 7, maybe 8 steps? First we foam, then we rinse, then we foam again, with contact wash, rinse again, apply a drying aid, and then we dry. That's a lot of steps, isn't it? Isn't there a better way? Let's break it down. So why am I making the suggestion that soap is dead? Is there something wrong with soap? No, there's not. I need to preface that statement with who I am reaching out to today in this video. And who I'm reaching out to is beginner detailers who want to do this as a business. As a business owner, one of the things that I want to do is be the most efficient that I can and the safest that I can with my wash process. For those of you that absolutely love using foam cannons and seeing that rich shaving cream foam, there's nothing wrong with it. And I can actually show you something today where you can get your foam fix and do a process that's a little more efficient at the exact same time. So let's cover that today. Okay guys, let's start with the basics today. On the cart, I have a selection of different wash media. We will be going over all of those, both the pros and the cons. In my bucket, I have 3 gallons of water. I have in my fancy keg back here, I have the Rinseless wash already pre-mixed at 256:1. For those of you that don't know, 256:1 is just a term that we use, and it's 1/2 ounce of wash solution per gallon of water. So that's what we'll be putting in our wash bucket, the exact same dilution. We'll be using Detail Co.'s Nemesis today to do the wash, which is one of my favorites. Now, with the keg, that's my preferred way of doing this, but you guys don't need something that fancy. You can use something as simple as a garden sprayer to apply the solution to the panels. So let's start by mixing our Rinseless wash solution. So since there's 3 gallons of water in here, we're going to do 3 capfuls of Rinseless wash solution. That's it. So 1, 2, 3. Rinseless wash is super efficient, and it's one of the benefits to doing this. Let's just suppose for a moment that we're going to detail a vehicle like this one that isn't super dirty. How do we take a process that is 7 or possibly even 8 steps if we're going to do protection and make that more efficient? What if I told you guys that we could do this entire vehicle in just 3 steps? Yes, I mean it. 3 steps. Would that interest you? I thought it might. Let me introduce you to a Rinseless wash. With a Rinseless wash, there's 3 simple steps on something like this. We would pre-spray the panel with Rinseless. We're going to contact wash it with lots of different media choices, which we'll cover today. And then we could move immediately to the drying phase. That's it. Instead of taking 40 minutes to an hour to move around this vehicle, I can do it in 20. Let's cover that. Okay, so the first step that we're going to do here is apply Rinseless wash to the panels that we're going to be taking care of. Now, as I said earlier, I have the keg, but you don't have to use that. You could use something as simple as a regular sprayer or this garden sprayer. All we would do is take the lid off, dunk it into our pre-mixed solution that's in the bucket here, fill it up, and use this to cover the panel. In this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and use the keg and get started with that. So give me just a second here. All we really need to do at this point is apply a very light solution to the surface, and we will let it dwell a little bit. So we will do that. All right, so that's it. I hardly put any solution on whatsoever. We're gonna let that dwell for just a couple of minutes. What this is doing is, as it's dwelling, Rinseless Wash has both a combination of surfactants and polymers when we're dealing with this type of Rinseless Wash, which is a hybrid. What that combination does is it both emulsifies the dirt, which means it's breaking it down into smaller and smaller particles, and then from there it's encapsulating it. So if I brought you guys in really close here, you would see that the dirt is actually getting trapped in the bubbles of water that are on here. So that's what it's doing. We're gonna let this dwell for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I will be right back with you and we'll go through the contact wash process. All right, now that we've had this Rinseless Wash dwelling for a bit, we're ready for a contact wash. So let's cover the different wash media that's available, okay? Most of you will know microfiber wash mitts. We have long weave style fiber, and then we have the noodle style. We have a double flip style wash mitt. We have a selection of Rinseless Wash sponges, and one that will be controversial that I've covered in another video is a flag tipped brush. Now let's actually start with this. If we were dealing with a vehicle that had a heavy layer of traffic film on it, okay, even if we've done our pre-wash and gotten all the grit off, many vehicles that have spent a lot of time on the road that haven't been washed in a while will have a really thick, heavy film of traffic film on the surface. It's oily and it sticks to the paint. One of my processes that I like to do is kind of a 2-stage wash. Now, I do it one of 2 ways. I either use the wheel and body brush, or I will use a rinseless sponge and I will go over it twice. But the wheel and body brush, despite what a lot of people think, is entirely safe for this process. The way the bristles are designed, it won't mar the paint. And I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. This panel doesn't have heavy traffic film on it. It doesn't need it, but I want to show you what we would do. So we would dunk my wheel and body brush into the bucket, get plenty of solution in it, and we would then, with no pressure whatsoever, and here's something that I'm going to be covering during this entire process, is that when we are washing, pressure is our enemy. We want to be using 0 pressure when we use any of these wash medias, okay? It's vitally important. We are not scrubbing the surface. We're allowing the chemical to do its work, and we are just agitating the surface. And that's where this wheel and body brush really excels. It gets into all the little tight nooks and crannies, and it does an excellent job of actually agitating the surface. But the one disadvantage that it has is that we are not actually removing the dirt. We are breaking it up and making it easier to remove, but that is it. So, showing you that you 100% can use a wheel and body brush and you will not cause any issue whatsoever as long as you don't put pressure, okay? So I'm gonna rinse that out with this. Really didn't need it. The next media that we will cover is a microfiber wash mitt, okay? So as I said, wash mitts that are made of microfiber are designed by nature to grab and hold on to dirt, okay? Now, the disadvantage to that is we're gonna go ahead and do this. Now, I'm gonna be putting just enough pressure to hold the mitt. That is it. And we're gonna glide across the surface. What this is doing is the microfiber is actually grabbing a hold of any dirt and grabbing it and trapping it in the microfiber. Right, when we get down to lower panels, I've washed the top. Now I want to flip the mitt, and the lower part that will be the dirtiest section of the car, I want to flip. And all we're going to do is drop it in the bucket. Now, with a microfiber mitt like this, there's two distinct disadvantages. Number one, these mitts are kind of thin, okay? So as we're applying it on the panel, I'm gonna grab this, actually, no, I'll start here. We'll rinse this out. I know this panel wasn't dirty, so I'm not worried about it. But with a microfiber mitt, again, we want to use zero pressure. As a beginner, it's real easy to get in the habit of putting too much pressure and scrubbing, especially if we come across an area that's super dirty. What do we want to do? We want to grab it and we want to scrub. That's not how we should be doing it. We just want to be agitating the surface and lifting it off, letting this rinseless wash do its job. So by having a really thin mitt like this, the problem with it is if I go to put too much pressure, especially if I've got it on my hand, okay, it's really, really thin. And I can tend to do my fingers and put too much pressure. Now let's just say, as an example, that we didn't do a really good job with our pre-wash and there was some grit left on the surface. And as we're coming across and picking that stuff up, it's getting trapped in the fibers. But if I put too much pressure down, then what's going to happen is that dirt, because it really has nowhere to go, it's just trapped in these little fibers, there's a chance that we can cause marring. Now, the rinseless wash solution, again, provides a super lubricated surface and it really minimizes marring. But because a lot of people haven't had a lot of practice with it, you can put too much pressure. So that's the one downside. The second downside is because microfiber does such a good job of holding on to dirt, when I drop it in here with a sponge, which we will cover in a minute, it immediately releases the dirt. With a microfiber mitt, there is a good chance it may not release. So we're gonna have to go in here and really swish it around, use the grit guard and kind of scrub to make sure that any dirt on here is actually released. So I'm gonna wring this out and set this aside. So again, this is perfectly safe. You can use it if you like. If this is your preferred wash media, go for it. But it does have some disadvantages. Just make sure you're using no pressure. Okay, the next wash media that we will cover is a double flip mitt. Now this is still made of microfiber, so it has the same disadvantages as the microfiber wash mitt here, but it is a little bit thicker. And that's where we have a little bit of an advantage. It's a step up, okay? So now when I put this on here, because it's thicker, it will resist pressure a little bit more than a regular noodle mitt or something like that. So again, we can go across. Now, because the density of this is so high, the fibers on here, it actually doesn't glide quite as easy, but it will do an excellent job of actually lifting any dirt off. So between it being thicker, which will help if you accidentally put too much pressure, and the fact that the microfiber density is super thick, it'll do a really good job of cleaning the panel. So that is 100% a step up. Let's take this and rinse this out. Now, the last choice, and I have 3 different ones that I will show you, is a dedicated rinseless wash sponge. Now, these are absolutely phenomenal. I will show you how it works here in just a second on a dirtier panel. These have slits in them, And these slits are designed for two purposes, guys. The first purpose is when we're dealing with molded body panels. Let me dunk this and I'll show you. Normally I would have the rinseless sponge soaking in here a bit, but this will be fine. When we use the rinseless sponge, we're gonna wring it out, but not fully, just to the point of dripping, okay? So on a panel like this where there's curves, the slits, with us using no pressure, helps mold to those areas and makes it much better. Okay, that's one advantage. The second advantage is that those slits, if there is any grit left on the surface, the grit is going to go into these little slots here, and that traps it away from the wash media and the paint, so you're less likely to cause marring. But this is the exact same thing, okay? We want to use no pressure whatsoever, and this wash media really helps develop that muscle memory. Because it's thicker, it encourages us to use no pressure. So I know I'm going over the same section again, but we'll go further down in just a minute. But no pressure, just gliding over the surface. This is doing two things. It is agitating the surface, and it is also soaking up the dirt at the same time. Let's go to a dirtier section here and I will show you guys. So again, just gliding, putting no pressure whatsoever. We do not want to press. Okay, I'm gonna do half the panel. Actually, normally I'm gonna do half a panel and then I'm gonna flip the sponge because again, I don't want to be dragging dirt between sections. But this vehicle isn't super dirty and I wanna show you what the rinseless wash sponge does. So normally I would have flipped by now, but I'm gonna get all of this down here. And I think you guys can see a little bit. It's not really bad, but if you look closely, you'll see the dirt on there. Now here's where the distinct advantage of a rinseless wash sponge comes in. I'm just gonna drop it in there. I'm not gonna do anything else, okay? I'm not even gonna swish it in this case. Pick it up, wring it out, clean sponge. This is the distinct advantage to this wash media. It lets us clean the panel. It encourages us to not put too much pressure on there. And as soon as I dunk it in the wash bucket, it's clean. So let's move to this last section. Hopefully you guys can see. No pressure whatsoever. Hopefully this will pick up on camera. Here's another advantage of rinseless wash compared to soap. I can see what I'm doing. I can see where I'm going. I can see if I've missed an area. If I'm working through foam, there's a chance, no matter how good we are, that we are gonna miss areas. And if you look really close, I really hope the camera's picking this up. It changes from where it's just kind of water sitting on to streaking to where we can see where we have gone with our wash process, okay? We can see if we haven't missed any areas whatsoever. Do you see the difference between this panel here and this section here? We can see where we've been. If I have to walk away for some reason, I can come back and know where I've been. So flip the sponge, no pressure. Again, see how dirty that is? Drop it in. I'm not gonna even swish it around or agitate it. I'm gonna pull it out. Clean sponge. Now this video is already getting fairly long, so I'm not gonna continue here, all right? But what I wanna show you now is, now we have a clean panel. Normally with a regular wash, what would we be doing? We would be rinsing this panel down, and then we would need a drying aid. With a rinseless wash, it's its own drying aid. Now, many times I will use a dedicated drying aid because I want to do two things. I'm going to kind of use a belt and suspenders approach to give me even more lubrication, and I'm adding protection. So here's where we eliminate another step that we talked about earlier. I can add some basic protection right now during this process, but I want to show you that we don't need anything but the rinseless wash to do this. So, clean panel. I'm going to start up here on the window. These drying towels do a better job once they get just a little bit of moisture on it. But now I can take this and dry this panel. I don't need anything else whatsoever. So there you go. I'm just going to stop there. You guys can see. So now, 3 simple steps, and we have cleaned that panel. Okay, so that was the entire process. The big takeaway from this is 0 pressure. I really highly recommend a rinseless wash sponge as the best. And I'm not saying that because the others aren't good. I'm saying that because as beginners, that will give you the foundation to learn to do this right. Learning to not use pressure and learning to not scrub and resist that urge when you see a tougher area is really difficult. It takes practice, but practice, 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 and you'll get it down. Now, if you come across an area where you are gently gliding across the paint and it's not coming out, again, don't scrub. Those are areas that you want to address in a different way, whether it be APC or a bug and tar remover or Citral 266 or something along those lines. Address those areas separately if there's something that isn't coming off. But a rinseless wash sponge will give you the foundation and teach you how to have a light touch. I hope all of this was helpful. I know that the video was a little on the long side, but guys, as I do these videos, most YouTube videos are entertainment. And I'll be honest, I'm not in this to get thousands of subscribers or to get thousands of views. I'm doing this to teach, and hopefully what I've shown you today will give you a good foundation of just starting out. Now, the rinseless wash that we showed was 3 steps. Just remember, this jumps up to 5 if we're doing something that's really, really dirty. But overall, it's still a much more efficient process, and in the end, it's actually safer. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. And help me out. I'm new to doing this, and if you did like the video, please give me a like and possibly subscribe. Hit the bell notification, and that way when I do another one of these, you'll find out right away. Thanks for watching, and catch you guys on the next one. Peace.